Dust settled slowly in the ruined marketplace. Broken stalls lay scattered. Wooden beams and shattered metal covered the ground. The human soldier, Marcus, walked carefully, his boots crunching over glass. The city had been silent for weeks since the war ended, but small shadows still moved in the alleys. He had come here searching for supplies, but what he found stopped him in his tracks. An old alien woman sat against a crumbling wall, her back bent, her hands trembling as she held out a rusty bowl. Her skin was pale gray, wrinkled with deep lines etched across her face. Her eyes, half closed, looked dull and lifeless. She whispered something in a weak voice, words Marcus could barely hear. "Water. Please." Most humans would have walked past. The locals avoided her too. She looked cursed, her presence heavy, as if death followed her. People crossed the road, not daring to get close, but Marcus did not move away. Something inside him stirred, an odd mix of pity and curiosity. He crouched down, his rifle resting against his knee. "You need help?" he asked softly. The alien woman raised her head slowly. For a second, he thought he saw her eyes flash faintly with a strange golden light, but then they dimmed again. Her lips cracked as she tried to smile. "Yes, just a sip." Marcus pulled out his canteen. His unit had warned him never to waste water on strangers, but he ignored that rule. He lifted it toward her mouth. She drank greedily, spilling some down her chin, but when she finished, she looked stronger. Her voice no longer trembled. "Thank you, human," she whispered. Her words carried a strange weight, almost like a chant. He felt a shiver crawl up his spine. Something about her tone was unnatural. He tried to shake it off, convincing himself it was only his imagination. She placed a bony hand on his wrist. Her skin felt cold, far too cold for a living body. Marcus frowned. "Where's your family?" The old woman gave a hollow laugh that didn't match her frail body. "Long gone, buried under this cursed city." Her laugh echoed too long in the quiet market. Marcus felt uneasy, but he couldn't just leave her there. He pulled out a protein bar from his pack and handed it over. Her thin fingers clutched it, and she devoured it faster than expected for someone so weak. "You shouldn't be here," Marcus warned. "Raiders still search these ruins. They won't spare an old woman." Her lips curled into a faint smile again. "I am not afraid of raiders." Her eyes gleamed again, brighter this time. Marcus froze. It wasn't a trick of the light. Her dull, lifeless eyes glowed golden for just a heartbeat before returning to their cloudy gray. He gripped his rifle tighter. "Who are you?" he asked carefully. "Just a forgotten granny," she said, leaning back against the wall. "But you're different. Most would walk away, yet you stopped." Marcus felt a strange pull in her words, as though she was reading his thoughts. The air around her seemed heavier, like invisible smoke pressing against him. He forced himself to stand. "I should move. You should hide somewhere safer." The woman's laugh echoed again, soft but unsettling. "Safe? There is no safety. But you, soldier, you have already chosen your path." He didn't understand what she meant, and that bothered him more than the ruined city itself. He turned to leave, but her voice followed him. "Tonight, you will see me again." Marcus stopped in his tracks. His chest tightened as if invisible hands gripped it. He spun around, but the old woman was slumped, her head bowed, breathing slowly like she had fallen asleep. Maybe he had imagined it all. Maybe he was just tired, but deep down he knew it was not normal. Her words clung to his mind like vines wrapping around stone. He walked out of the market, but he couldn't shake the feeling that eyes were watching him. Marcus sat frozen, his breath caught in his throat as the golden eyes burned in the darkness. The figure stepped forward, the shape of a frail body dragging against the floor, but when the light from the dying fire touched her face, it no longer looked like the helpless old woman he had met. Her skin looked tighter, the wrinkles faded, and her posture straighter than before. For one terrifying heartbeat, she looked young. Then, the image broke apart, like smoke, and she slumped back into the crooked form of the granny. Marcus blinked, his chest heaving, unsure if his mind had played a trick on him. He raised his rifle, finger on the trigger, but the shadow faded into nothingness. The fire sputtered one last time, leaving the room in silence. His hands trembled slightly. Soldiers weren't supposed to fear shadows, but he did. He forced himself to lie down, his rifle close to his chest. When sleep finally took him, it was not peaceful. He dreamed of a woman's voice, soft, melodic, whispering his name again and again. He turned in the dream and saw a young alien woman with radiant skin, glowing faintly with golden light. She stood barefoot on black stone, her eyes brighter than stars, her lips curved in a knowing smile. She stretched out her hand, reaching for him. "Come closer, Marcus," she whispered. He felt himself obeying, powerless against the pull in her voice. When her fingers brushed his, heat rushed through his veins, burning but not painful. Instead, it filled him with strange weakness, as though she was drinking his strength. He pulled back, but her grip tightened. "You gave me water, now you must give me more." His body shuddered, and he broke free with a violent gasp. His eyes flew open. Sweat dripped down his forehead. The room was silent, except for the wind. His rifle lay beside him, untouched. But his body felt heavier, drained, as if the dream had been real. He pushed himself up and scanned the room. Nothing. The window rattled, but no intruder. Yet he couldn't shake the feeling he wasn't alone. He walked to the shattered glass and peered out into the street. The marketplace was dark, but movement caught his eye. A shadow walked slowly between the broken stalls. It was her. She moved with no limp now. Her back was straight, her body tall. The robe she wore clung differently, less like rags and more like a gown. Even from a distance, Marcus felt a chill. She stopped suddenly, and without turning her head, she whispered into the night, a sound that reached his ears as if she stood beside him. "You cannot ignore me, soldier." Marcus backed away from the window, his grip tight on his weapon. He wasn't sure if it was madness, exhaustion, or something worse. He had faced enemies with guns and claws, but this was beyond reason. He checked his gear, preparing to leave the ruined city before sunrise. But when he turned, she stood in the doorway. The crooked frame of the old woman was there again, her cloudy eyes staring at him. For a long moment, neither moved. Then she gave a slow smile, her cracked lips forming words that chilled him. "You saw me." Marcus didn't answer. He only raised the rifle. Her laugh echoed softly, but this time it carried warmth and something else, beauty hidden under the broken voice. "Don't be afraid. Fear wastes strength, and your strength is precious." Her form shimmered. For a second, Marcus saw both versions of her layered together, the frail grandmother and the radiant young woman. His finger tightened on the trigger, but he couldn't shoot. His heart raced with confusion. The vision faded, and she turned, walking away into the hallway. Her voice lingered, curling through the air like smoke. "Follow if you want answers." Marcus stood frozen, torn between fleeing and chasing. His instincts screamed to run, but something inside him burned with curiosity. She was not just an old beggar. She was something else, something dangerous, maybe divine. And she had chosen him. When the first light of dawn broke through the cracks in the ceiling, Marcus found himself stepping out of the ruined building, his boots following the faint trail of her footsteps. The forest was silent except for the crunch of Marcus's boots on dry leaves. The city ruins faded behind him, swallowed by mist, but the trail of faint footprints drew him deeper among twisted trees. Each step seemed to pull him away from reason. He didn't know why he followed. Soldiers weren't supposed to chase shadows in the night, but something stronger than discipline dragged him forward. He saw her ahead, bent, fragile, wrapped in rags, yet her movements were steady, too steady for a dying woman. She walked without effort, her thin frame slipping through the forest as if the roots and branches bent away for her. Marcus raised his rifle and whispered under his breath, "What are you?" She stopped suddenly. Without turning, she lifted her head, and golden light flashed faintly from her eyes. The air thickened, pressing against Marcus's chest, stealing his breath. When she spoke, the voice wasn't old. It was smooth, youthful, and it carried a strange music in every word. "You already know the answer." The forest seemed to shift, shadows stretched unnaturally, and Marcus felt the ground tremble under his feet. He aimed, finger tightening on the trigger, but his hands shook. A human soldier, trained to kill monsters and raiders, couldn't steady his aim at one frail figure. Something inside him whispered, she wasn't meant to be killed. The old body trembled, then cracked like dry wood splitting. Marcus blinked in shock as the skin on her arms shimmered and peeled away like layers of ash. Light glowed beneath, spreading across her body. The hunched back straightened with a sickening crack, bones reshaping, ribs lifting. The rags slipped down, dissolving into golden dust. Before him stood a woman, Her skin was radiant, smooth, glowing faintly with a warmth that was not natural. Her hair spilled down her back like molten silver, catching the pale moonlight. Her eyes burned with golden fire, sharp and commanding. Every trace of the fragile granny had vanished. She was tall, powerful, breathtaking, and terrifying all at once. Marcus stumbled back, heart hammering. His rifle clattered against a tree, but he didn't care. His breath caught in his throat. Impossible! She turned fully now, facing him, her lips curling into a smile that was both gentle and cruel. "You helped me when others turned away," she said softly, her voice echoing with layers, as if more than one person spoke through her. "That kindness woke me. The curse weakens." Marcus shook his head. His training screamed to run, to fight, to do anything but stand there frozen. Yet his legs refused to move. "You're not real," he whispered, though the heat radiating from her presence told him otherwise. She walked closer, every step silent, her bare feet leaving faint sparks on the ground. When she reached him, she tilted her head, studying him as though he were prey, or perhaps a chosen offering. "You humans," she said, almost with wonder, "so stubborn, so fragile, yet so alive. You gave me water. Do you know what that means?" Marcus swallowed hard, sweat dripping down his temple. It was just water. Her smile widened, revealing teeth too perfect to belong to anything mortal. "No, it was life. You shared your strength with me, and now you belong to me." He tried to speak, but his voice failed. Her hand lifted, fingers glowing faintly. She touched his chest, and warmth spread through his body. His heart skipped a beat, then thundered painfully. His knees nearly buckled. She wasn't hurting him, not exactly, but she was pulling something out, his energy, his fire. Marcus gasped and shoved her back, stumbling away. She let him go easily, as though amused by his resistance. Her laughter echoed through the trees, beautiful and chilling. "Do not fight it, soldier. You will give me more, whether you wish it or not. The curse binds me to you now." Marcus gritted his teeth, forcing his breath steady. His rifle lay on the ground, but he didn't reach for it. He doubted bullets would do anything against her. He stared at her, sweat soaking his shirt, his muscles weak. "What are you?" he demanded again, his voice cracking. Her eyes glowed brighter. She spread her arms, and the trees bent with the force of her presence. "A demigoddess," she declared. "Once worshipped, once feared, now forgotten. Cursed to wear the skin of a dying crone until one pure-hearted soul lifted me. You, human, have broken my chains." The forest seemed to bow around her, light bending, shadows shivering. Marcus stood small before her, caught between awe and terror. His hand trembled as he clenched it into a fist. She stepped closer again, her beauty overwhelming, her presence suffocating. "And for your kindness, I will reward you. But rewards from gods are never free." Marcus felt his breath falter, his body weakening as her golden eyes locked onto his. He realized in that moment that his act of mercy had not saved a helpless old woman. It had unleashed something far greater, and she was not done with him yet. Marcus could barely stand. His breath came shallow, his knees threatened to collapse, but still he held his ground. The woman before him glowed like a fragment of a star, her body casting faint ripples of light across the forest floor. Her voice rolled through the trees like music and thunder together, settling into his bones. "You wonder what I am," she said, stepping closer. Her hand brushed the bark of a tree, and it split, sap glowing like molten gold where her fingers passed. "You wonder what I want. Shall I tell you?" Marcus's throat was dry, but he forced himself to answer. "Tell me." She tilted her head, her silver hair flowing down like liquid metal, and her smile grew sharper. "I was once adored. My temples stretched to the skies. My name was carved into stone. They called me Protector. They called me Queen of Dawn. But I became greedy, too powerful, and so my own kind cursed me. They wrapped me in a shell of weakness, bound me to rot as a husk of an old crone until mercy broke my chains. Do you see, human? You did not just give water to a beggar. You freed me." Marcus shook his head, struggling to make sense of her words. "I freed nothing. I only helped someone dying." Her laugh rang soft but dangerous, like blades hidden in silk. "Exactly. A kindness so rare, so pure, it shattered the locks placed on me. But the curse is not gone yet. To fully restore me, I need more. Not gold, not temples, not prayers. I need you." The words sank into him like cold steel. His grip on the rifle tightened, though he knew it was useless. "What do you mean by me?" She moved closer, too close until her glow lit the fear in his eyes. "Your strength. your fire, your spirit. You call it stamina, resilience, willpower, but to me, it is lifeblood. Give it freely, and you will taste wonders no mortal has touched. Resist. She let her finger trail down his chest until he shivered. And you will break, piece by fragile piece. Marcus shoved her hand away. I'm not your servant. She smirked, golden light dancing in her eyes. Not servant. Chosen. The trees groaned around them as if they bent to her will. Marcus felt the ground shake and the shadows shifted like living things. He stumbled back, but her voice caught him, pinning him where he stood. Do not mistake me for some ghost or trick. I am real. I am flesh and divinity both. And you. She circled him slowly, her steps silent, her presence overwhelming. You are the one written in the curse, a mortal who would give to one who looked beyond saving. No warlord, no king, no priest, only a soldier with a stubborn heart. Marcus clenched his jaw, refusing to let her words sink deeper. If this is true, why me? Why not anyone else? Because anyone else would have walked away, she answered simply, her tone so calm it chilled him more than anger. But you, she stopped in front of him, her eyes burning brighter. You did not. That makes you mine. Marcus felt the weight of her claim press down harder than any battlefield burden. His chest ached, not from wounds, but from something unseen, something she had planted inside him the moment he offered her water. He wanted to deny it, to call her a liar, but a whisper inside told him it was real. Her hand reached up, brushing his face this time, softer, almost tender. Do not fear what I ask. You will not lose everything, only what you do not need. Her words were honey, but Marcus tasted venom underneath. He pushed her away with all his remaining strength and staggered back. Stay away from me. The glow around her pulsed once, and for a moment her face flickered. Not the radiant goddess, but the broken crone again, her voice rasping. You cannot run, soldier. You are already bound. Marcus's heart pounded as the vision shifted back to the glowing demigoddess, her beauty restored, her lips curling in victory. He realized then that Mercy had chained him to something beyond his understanding, and no matter how far he fled, she would follow. The night air was heavy, thick with a silence that pressed against Marcus's ears. He stood rigid, his muscles sore, his body trembling from the strange weakness she had already stolen from him. Yet he refused to bow. The woman, glowing faintly in the half-light, watched him with a gaze that carried both hunger and patience, as if she knew resistance was only delaying the inevitable. Do you think your will can fight me forever? She asked, her voice smooth as running water. Mortals pride themselves on strength, but all it takes is time and temptation. Marcus didn't answer. He bent to pick up his rifle, his hands slick with sweat, but when he raised his head, she was gone. His heart jumped. He spun in a circle, eyes darting through the trees. The forest looked empty, yet he felt her presence crawling over his skin. A whisper brushed his ear, though no one stood near. You cannot win by steel, only by surrender. Marcus gritted his teeth and moved, forcing his legs forward through the undergrowth. He needed to put distance between them, to find open ground where the trees didn't carry whispers. But every path twisted back into itself. Every turn led him deeper into her domain. The forest shifted. The trees bent unnaturally, roots curling like snakes, branches knitting into walls. Marcus stopped, realizing the truth. She wasn't just in the forest. She was the forest. Shadows thickened, and in their heart she appeared again, walking barefoot across the ground that seemed to glow under her steps. This time she didn't pretend weakness. She was radiant, terrible, her body cloaked in shimmering light. Her smile was playful yet sharp. You see now, you do not walk in a forest, you walk in me. Marcus steadied his rifle. If you want to test me, then do it. Stop playing. Her laugh rolled like thunder over distant hills. So brave, so foolish, very well. The ground split beneath his boots, and the world twisted. Suddenly, Marcus was standing in a different place, the ruins of the city market. Yet it wasn't as he remembered. The stalls were whole again, filled with food and gold, people bustling. Voices rang, laughter echoed, warmth filled the air. A vision of life before war. His throat tightened. He saw comrades at a tavern, his lost friends smiling, raising mugs of ale. They waved at him, their faces glowing with joy. His heart ached so deeply he staggered. Then he heard her voice, not far, whispering through the illusion. Stay here, Marcus. Let go of the pain. Let go of the battles. Be with them again. He almost believed his legs carried him toward the familiar faces, toward laughter, toward comfort he had craved for years. But something inside him, a spark of suspicion, fought back. His eyes narrowed. He reached out to one friend's shoulder, but when his hand touched it, the man dissolved into ash. The entire market shattered, the food rotted, the people withered into skeletons, the laughter turned into screams. Marcus pulled back, his chest burning, his body trembling from the assault. He aimed his rifle into the collapsing illusion and fired. The shot rang out, breaking the vision completely. He stood again in the forest, gasping, the goddess before him, smiling wider than ever. "Impressive," she purred. "Most men beg for the dream to stay, but you broke it. You burned it down." Marcus wiped the sweat from his face, his body screaming with exhaustion. "If you want me to kneel, you'll wait forever." Her smile softened, though her eyes still gleamed with fire. She stepped close, so close he could feel the warmth of her skin, the scent of something sweet and ancient filling his lungs. "Then no more illusions, no more games. You've proven your will. Now, soldier, you will taste the reward." Her hand touched his chest again, but this time he did not push her away. A flood of warmth poured into him, not stealing but giving. His veins burned with fire and ice, his vision blurred with gold. He gasped, his knees nearly buckling as energy tore through him. But with every surge of power, something else slipped away, his strength, his breath, his very stamina. She was giving and taking at once, draining him even as she lifted him higher. His heart thundered, his vision swam, and for a moment, he felt both alive and near death. Her lips brushed his ear as she whispered, "Now you begin to understand what it means to touch a goddess." Marcus collapsed against the roots of a tree, his chest heaving, every breath scraping his throat raw. His arms felt like lead, his legs numb, as if he had run for days without rest. The glow of her touch still burned on his skin, a mark invisible yet undeniable. He wanted to shout, to curse her name, but his voice cracked in silence. She had given him a taste of her power, and in return she had stolen something deeper, something vital. The goddess stood nearby, her body shimmering faintly in the darkness. Her expression was unreadable, part hunger, part curiosity, part something softer he couldn't name. She watched him as though studying the limits of his endurance, her head tilting like a predator, deciding whether to kill or play longer. "You are still alive," she said softly, almost with admiration. "Few could stand after my gift. Yet you do. Humans, such strange creatures." Marcus spat blood onto the dirt, his fingers clutching the rifle, though he lacked strength to raise it. "If you call that a gift, then keep it. I don't need it." Her laugh was low, rolling through the trees like distant thunder. "You speak with defiance, but your body trembles. I feel every pulse of your heart. You are mine now, whether you admit it or not." The forest shifted suddenly, leaves rustling without wind. Marcus forced himself upright, ignoring the scream of his muscles. From the shadows emerged shapes, tall, armored figures with jagged weapons glinting in the faint moonlight. Alien hunters, their eyes gleaming with cruel intent. Their guttural voices growled in unison when they saw him. "Human," one hissed, "alone, weak, easy kill." Marcus steadied his stance, though he could barely hold the rifle. His vision swam, but his finger hovered over the trigger. He knew he didn't have more than a few shots left in him. The hunters fanned out, circling, their movements confident. The goddess stepped forward, her glow brightening, and the hunters faltered. They muttered among themselves in fear. One dared to raise his blade, but she looked at him once, and his weapon melted into glowing ash. He screamed and dropped to his knees, clutching his seared hands. The others hesitated, but their greed outweighed fear. They charged. Marcus lifted his rifle and fired, the shot echoing through the forest. One hunter fell, writhing. Another rushed in, swinging a blade that caught Marcus's arm, tearing flesh. He cried out, his knees buckling, but before the killing strike could land, golden light exploded. The goddess raised her hand, and the hunters were thrown back like leaves in a storm. Their armor cracked, their screams cut short as they were hurled into trees with bone-shattering force. Silence followed, broken only by the rasp of Marcus's breathing. She turned toward him, her eyes burning brighter now, her hair flowing as if caught in an invisible current. "Even drained, you still fight," she said. "Even dying, you raise your weapon." Marcus pressed his bloodied hand to his wound, his voice weak but steady. "Because I'm not yours. Not yet." Something flickered in her gaze, Amusement, perhaps respect. She knelt beside him, her fingers brushing his wound. Golden fire seeped into his skin, sealing flesh, knitting bone, but leaving a strange weakness behind. Healing came at a price. It always did with her. "You resist me," she whispered, "and yet you survive because of me. Do you not see? You are already bound. You fight me, but you need me." Marcus clenched his jaw, refusing to give her the satisfaction of an answer. Yet, deep inside, he knew she was right. Without her intervention, the hunters would have ended him. Without her touch, his wounds would have bled him dry. His defiance kept him human, but her power kept him alive. She leaned close, her lips almost brushing his ear. "You can deny it with words, but your heart has already chosen. It beats in rhythm with mine now." Marcus closed his eyes, gripping the rifle tighter, his mind torn between rage and fear. The glow of her presence wrapped around him like chains made of silk. Soft, beautiful, unbreakable. The dawn crept through the forest, pale light scattering across broken branches and still bodies. Marcus stood shakily, his uniform torn, his skin marked by both wounds and the strange glow she had left upon him. He looked at his hands, trembling, and wondered how much of himself remained. Each heartbeat felt slower, heavier, as though some unseen hand pressed against his chest. She emerged from the mist like a vision, her beauty sharper in daylight, impossible to mistake now for weakness or age. Her silver hair caught the sun, her golden eyes gleamed, and the ground itself seemed to hum beneath her feet. She no longer carried even a trace of the crone he had once helped. She was a goddess reborn, radiant and terrible. "You endured," she said, her voice flowing like music, filling the clearing. "The curse is broken, my chains are gone, and you, soldier, are the one who carried me through the fire." Marcus tried to steady his voice, but it cracked. "If your curse is gone, then let me go." She stepped closer, her gaze fixed on him, not with hunger this time, but with a strange softness. "I cannot. You are no longer separate from me. You poured your strength into me, drop by drop, until your essence binds with mine. Do you not feel it? Every breath you take, I feel it too." His chest tightened and he looked away, but he couldn't deny it. Some tether, unseen but real, pulled at him. He felt her inside him, like heat under his skin, like whispers at the edge of thought. "What happens to me now?" he asked quietly. Her hand lifted, and she pressed her fingers to his chest, directly above his heart. The glow surged again, flooding his veins with warmth and weakness all at once. "You live," she whispered. "But you live as mine, my chosen, my companion, my mortal anchor in this world." Marcus staggered back, his mind screaming to refuse, but his body betrayed him. He could not break the link. He had given her water. He had given her kindness. Then, piece by piece, she had taken more, until nothing could sever the bond. She smiled, not cruelly now, but with certainty. "This is no curse. This is ascension. Through you I walk again as a goddess. Through me, you will see what no human has ever seen." From the tree line, whispers rose. Figures appeared, both human scouts and alien villagers who had followed the sounds of battle. They froze when they saw her, their faces pale with awe and terror. Some fell to their knees, others fled into the shadows. One soldier shouted, "She's with him! The human walks with a god!" The words spread like fire, turning fear into myth. Already Marcus could see it in their eyes, the shift, the reverence, the terror. He was no longer just a man. He was bound to something eternal, something dangerous, something divine. He turned toward her, his voice low and bitter. "You've taken everything from me." Her smile faded into something gentler, almost mournful. She touched his face lightly, her golden eyes softer than he expected. "No, Marcus, I have given you more than you can imagine. Your story will echo through worlds. They will fear you, worship you, despise you, but none will forget you." His hands shook, his rifle hung limp at his side. He wanted to resist, to deny her, to cling to what humanity he had left. Yet when her hand slid into his, warm and unyielding, he did not pull away. The crowd that had gathered murmured, watching as the human soldier stood beside a goddess. The bond was sealed, and nothing could undo it. The forest stilled, the air trembling with her power, and Marcus realized his mercy on a dying stranger had reshaped his fate. The reward she had promised was not treasure nor peace, but a life forever marked, drained of what he once was, filled with what he could never escape.